Share my favorite Bible verse. Well, actually, they say to do a Bible verse, and I come out with a theological outline. So here we go. So I thought, what better to talk about at CBS than the gospel? So I'm just going to go out with basically that we are all sinners. Romans 3:10 says, as it is written, none is righteous, not one. And then continuation in Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Throughout the Bible, there's one message that the Bible shares clearly, and that God hates sin, and that all sin must be paid for. But now in the continuation of Romans 3:24 through 25, it says, and are justified by his grace, as a gift through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God put forward as a propitiation by his blood, to be received by faith. This was to show God's righteousness, because in his divine forbearance he had passed over former sins. In 2 Corinthians 5:21, it says, he made him who knew no sin to be sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him. What this verse is saying is that God put his wrath on his Son, Jesus Christ, because of our sin. Not because of anything that Christ had done wrong, but because of our sin. And now, Jesus paid the penalty for our sin, and he imputes his righteousness onto us, so that we may enter the kingdom of heaven. God paid the penalty of hell on the cross for us, and then God treats us as if we had lived Christ's life. And now we have assurance of this because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And I just think that this is an important message, because this is what's coming up on Easter Sunday, and this is an important celebration. So now I'm going to pass it on to Delaney.